savory breakfast. I find when I have a savory breakfast, it just keeps me full all the way up until lunch. And I always prioritize protein and fiber. I think I'm gonna make some avocado toast this morning. I've got this half an avocado that looks like it's going a little bit ropey, and I always love to add loads of extra things to my avocado. So I'm gonna go fresh parsley, some jalapeno for spice, which is really good to have for breakfast. It's really stimulating for the digestive system, also helps with feeling full, what we call satiety, and then some spring onion. So avocados are actually a fantastic source of fiber. One medium avocado has about 10 grams of fiber in, which is a third of your daily intake, and full of all of those gorgeous, lovely, healthy fats, which help boost the absorption of all of the other things I'm gonna put into my breakfast. So let's make it. I buy proper sourdough and I always slice it up and then freeze it. I have these little silicone bags from Oxo. If you guys follow me on my other social channels, you know how much I love these. But the simple act of freezing bread and then retoasting it increases something called resistant starch. And resistant starch is actually really good for your gut health. So your gut bacteria are able to break it down, use it as food, and in turn produce all of these wonderful things called short chain fatty acids. And particularly one called butyrate is really anti-inflammatory and incredible for helping just feed and nourish your gut. So top tip is slice and freeze your bread. And I always do all of my toast in my air fryer. It's an absolute game changer. Love to pimp out my avocado mixes, so I'll just take my slightly ropey avocado. Make sure you scrape down the sides of your avocado as well, because lots of the nutrition is actually found right in that outer layer. Parsley is particularly fantastic for our kidney health. It's what we call a diuretic. And when we throw around the word detox, especially in the health and nutrition space, a lot of people can kind of roll their eyes. But for me, detoxing is about supporting the ways that your body naturally does it. So going to the bathroom every single day, having a poo, and also supporting your liver health. Use more herbs in your diet. Trust me. Not only do they taste delicious, they are honestly so good for you. And if you're someone who is sensitive to onions, if you just focus on eating the green part of the spring onion, you're less likely to experience kind of bloating and gas. Because certain people with IBS are just a little bit more sensitive to things like garlic and onion. And then I love to incorporate a little bit of spice. This is just a kind of green jalapeno chili, so it's a little bit milder than a red chili. But spice is really good for stimulating digestion. And then I just add that to the bowl. A bit of black pepper. It's definitely very fridge raid coded. I always find as long as I just have a nice stash of certain things in my fridge, I can throw something like this together. You don't have to stick to exact recipes. If you have basil, use basil. You can use coriander. Oh, there is an ingredient that I love to add, and that is a little bit of honey. Honestly, tiny amount makes it taste so good. So now I have my avocado mix, loads of healthy fats, fiber, got all those extra antioxidants from the pepper, the fresh herbs. It tastes better and it's also better for you, which I just think is a win-win. Toast is done, so I just set that to one side as well. I always try and aim for the rule of 3, so 3 extra things with my breakfast. So I'm gonna do some nice little tomatoes. But it is important to note that a lot of the antioxidants in tomatoes need fat to be able to be absorbed. So pairing the tomatoes with the avocado is the perfect synergy to basically maximize nutrition. A lot of people only have 2 eggs for breakfast, but there's a little hack that I like to do, which is a carton of egg whites. So I can still have a couple of eggs, and that's gonna give me around 12 grams of protein. But if I add an extra splash of these, I can get an extra 7 to 8. So then I'm hitting 20, and I've got my bread, which probably has about 3 grams. And if I add a couple of slices of the wild smoked salmon, I'm gonna get another 10 grams. I'm getting these real high protein amounts. Your breakfast pretty much sets up your metabolism for the rest of the day. And if I have a nice high protein breakfast, I feel like my energy's better, my mood's better, my focus is better, my hunger swings are also better. So I always like to do my eggs in my busted up cast iron. I've had this for years now. This is my Le Creuset cast iron, a fundamental piece of kitchen kit. People always ask me what pots and pans I use, and if you can invest in Le Creuset, I would highly recommend it, because you get one of these and you'll just pass it down for generations. So I got my standard breakfast formula here, 2 eggs, about 100 grams of egg whites is gonna give me an extra 10 grams of protein. So that is quite a lot. And they're just so easy. I add these to scrambled eggs, you can add these to omelets. Honestly, you will not be able to taste the fact that you've got extra egg whites in here. So stick it onto low heat. I like to constantly stir my scrambled eggs at the beginning. You start to see these nice little ribbons. So just keep on moving. I like to just have a kind of pull method. So you just go from the outside in and like push away from you, just to keep on forming those lovely ribbons. Once it starts to get to this phase, I like to turn the heat down even more. A lot of people feel like they mess up their scrambled eggs because they overcook them, and the residual heat in the pan will always kind of continue to finish cooking your eggs. So if you really want that kind of lovely, soft, buttery texture, it's definitely worth taking it off when you think they're not done. Don't finish them when you think, oh, that looks ready, because that extra minute that they have just with the residual heat in will end up overcooking them. And I just feel like they have the perfect texture, so I'll just leave those now. I'm just gonna get that lovely herby avocado mix, fresh diced tomatoes, some of this wild salmon, then those perfect, soft, gorgeous scrambled eggs. I've got my protein boosted scrambled eggs. I've got my extra protein omega-3s from the wild smoked salmon. I've got tomatoes, really high in vitamin C, a little bit of fiber, antioxidant called lycopene, that's getting boosted by the healthy fats in the avocado that I pimped up with the fresh parsley, the jalapeno for spice, the spring onion, lots of diversity, lots of fiber types, all on a lovely bit of whole grain sourdough, which has been frozen. So just a few lovely little pumpkin seeds, great source of magnesium. Pumpkin seeds are one of the seeds that you should definitely have in your store cupboard. About 10 grams of fiber in this bowl too, so that's a third of my daily recommended intake. So essentially this is avocado on toast with scrambled eggs, but just my slightly nutritionified version. That is what I'm eating for breakfast this morning. So I also always take my supplements in the morning too. My Symbiotic Epitome, which is my own brand, and then I put creatine and L-glutamine into my Big Stanley. I don't know about you guys, I'm addicted to this. This is the Tabasco, but it's the jalapeno Tabasco. Also went to this Marks and Spencer's new product launch wellness event the other week, and they gave me a couple of their little shots. So I'm gonna take one of their shots this morning. This is a cold pressed collagen shot with cucumber, aloe vera, dragon fruit, bovine collagen, and hyaluronic acid. Oh, that's nice. That is really nice. I love breakfast. What's half lunch? So I'm gonna prep one of my favorite go-to lunches. I love anything that I can just throw all in one bowl, and ideally I can make enough for portions tomorrow and the next day as well, because if I'm gonna make the time to make lunch, I may as well just get ahead, prep 2 to 3 portions so I can just enjoy throughout the week. And I feel like that is such an easy way to be able to eat really well, make sure I prioritize my nutrition, but it doesn't feel too overwhelming. I'm just gonna go with what I have in my fridge today. So I think I'm gonna do a roasted butter bean salad. If you don't know Bold Bean Co., you need to know these beans. They are pretty much life-changing. I always tend to buy pre-cooked proteins. I just feel like they make everything so much easier, so I can throw this together in literally 5 minutes. So the beauty about buying this pre-roasted chicken is, A, I swear it's so juicy, it's actually delicious. And I can just quickly shred it and add it to any meal. So I can do this with a hot pasta if I just want to make a quick ragu. One of my favorite pieces of kitchen kit is my mandolin. You have to be careful. Please do not chop off your fingers. I'm just gonna top and tail that red onion, remove the skin. And then all in one stainless steel bowl. I get all of my stainless steel products mostly from Amazon. Like, you can actually get the best stuff from Amazon for kitchenware, so highly recommend. And I'm just gonna thinly slice that red onion. And if you wanna be careful with the mandolin, my top tip is just don't be a hero. Like, if you have that tiny bit that you're trying to get, don't mandolin it, you can just chop it on the side. It's not worth chopping your finger off for. So if you're someone who finds that the onion can be very repetitive, especially if you're having it for lunch, what I do here is a really good hack. So you can basically slightly pickle the onion. So I'm gonna use a little bit of the jalapeno brine and also a little bit of salt. You can use lemon juice if you want. And whilst I prep all the rest of the ingredients, I'm just gonna mix that around. And it's just gonna soften and mellow down that kind of very heavy onion flavor that sometimes you can have from too much raw onion. I mean, I love raw onion. So the premise of this is, again, you can use any vegetables that you like, but I like to use vegetables that are nice and hardy. So a good pepper is not gonna go soggy, it's gonna give you that lovely crunch in the salad. And then cucumber, even though it has a really high water content, I'm just gonna cut the seeds out when I prep it. Again, this stops all of that water leaching into your salad. So if I'm gonna be having this for lunch over the next 2-3 days, I really don't want to open up the Tupperware container and it be a bit soggy and gross. A bit of natural separation you can expect, but just give a little mix and it will always just come together. And then cucumber, I'm just gonna cut it down the middle and then cut it into quarters. And you can see all of that liquid and water in the seed part. So I'm just gonna carefully just slice that out, like so. So then you get the lovely firm bit of cucumber. That is what is going to make your meal prep soggy. Cut it out, don't waste it, just eat it. So that's pretty much all of the veg prep that I'm going to do for this one. So I've got my onions, green pepper, cucumber, and I'm going to build all of my salad dressing in the base of this bowl and then just toss everything through it. So it's super quick. I tend to just eyeball all of my dressings. I'm going to start off with some Greek yogurt, 2 big tablespoons. Then I think I want a tahini dressing with this. I love tahini. It's basically made out of sesame seeds, which are really, really high in magnesium. You've got vitamin E, all of those healthy fats. I'm going to go in with about a tablespoon of tahini. Garlic granules, because I'm lazy and I don't want to get garlic fingers for lunch. A little bit of honey for some sweetness. Tahini, honey and garlic are literally best friends. I've already got salt in there because I am marinating my onions with a little bit of that jalapeno brine, which is going to be the kind of acidic component of this. But you can also add an extra little bit of lemon juice. I'm just gonna add a touch more brine. And I mean, I know I had it for breakfast, but I love it so much, I'm just gonna stick some of the jalapeno Tabasco in there too because I like my spice. So then I just mix this all together and you'll just see how the tahini makes it so lovely and luscious and thick. I've got my lovely thick tahini yogurt mustard dressing. I love using yogurt in my salad dressings as well because I get that extra hit of protein and it has that kind of rich creaminess, but it's a lot lighter than things like mayonnaise. So then I chuck in my pre-roasted chicken and go in with the veg that I just prepped earlier, so the cucumber and the green pepper. And then I've weighed out about 200 grams drained weight of the butter beans. I'm not really a big believer in weighing all your food, but if you weigh your carbs, it's very, very useful because a lot of people, pasta portions, carb portions, rice portions tends to be the things that they end up overeating on. If you've ever weighed out the recommended portion size of pasta, you will know it's pretty shocking. It feels really, really small, but then you bulk it out with all the other things, which I have mentioned in one of my other videos, which if you haven't watched, you should go and watch. More of my parsley, I honestly get through bunches of this stuff, but as I said, like so good for your liver, super nutrient dense, and they make things taste really good. So I'm just gonna chop this up, add to my bowl, and a salad like this is generally going to taste just as good on day 3 as it is the day that we've made it. In fact, sometimes it tastes even better because the flavors kind of meld all together. And just literally toss this all together. And she just looked absolutely divine. A taste test. So good. So then something like this, I will just portion up. I'm probably gonna get about 3 portions out of this. My Black & Blum containers, these are the best meal prep containers ever. They're totally leak proof. I mean, like you could put a broth in there, tip it upside down in your bag and it's not gonna go anywhere. Portion up these. So then that is 3 lunches that I've made that literally took me 5 minutes. I'll prep and hold 2 of these. They'll last about 3 days in my fridge, if not 4. And of course, I'm gonna eat one now for my lunch. So I'm just gonna tip that in. What I'd normally do with something like this is I would pimp it up a little bit more. So I've got some pomegranate seeds. I love pomegranate seeds. These are so good for your skin. I also want some cheese on this. So I'm just gonna add a little crumble of feta. And that is my lunch. This is my preppable salad that won't go soggy. I've got 2 other portions in my fridge. Chicken, butter beans, this lovely tahini, honey, jalapeno dressing. It's so good. See you for dinner. I fancy some pasta for dinner. I'm gonna be making one of my favorite recipes. This is my sardine bolognese. Sardines are so good for you. I think sardines are gonna be the it health food for 2026. Really affordable, but absolute nutrient powerhouses. This little tin has about 20 grams of protein into it. Treat them exactly the same way that you would a tin of tuna. So when we're making this sardine bolognese, it's basically like a tuna pasta. I get the ones in spring water. They're just a little bit lighter. You can get them in sunflower oil or tomato sauce. The ones in tomato sauce also work really well for this recipe. I'm actually gonna make this dish like a puttanesca style bolognese. So I'm gonna use some olives, chili, capers. I'm also going to be adding a red pepper and a courgette. What a julienne peeler does is enables me to create these spaghetti-like strands with the courgette. So when I fold these through the pasta, I can pretty much double my pasta portion size-wise, so I get this lovely big bowl. But I can still stick to that perfect kind of 75 to 80 gram portion size of pasta. And to avoid it going mushy, I avoid that inner core, so I'll just peel it all around the outsides and I'm left with these lovely little courgette noodles. Then I'm also gonna add a red pepper into this. One of my favorite stats is that a red pepper contains more vitamin C than an orange. In fact, one red pepper contains 100% of your daily recommended vitamin C intake. When you're incorporating vegetables into sauces, it is important to make sure that you chop them the right way. It makes a really, really big difference to how things taste and how they eat. You don't want just massive hunks of pepper through your spaghetti, but if you cut it fine enough, it's just gonna make every single mouthful perfect, but you still get all of that vitamin C and that nutritional benefit. All the foods that I've made today, I've pretty much rustled up using what I had in my fridge. You can adapt these. You don't have to use sardines. You can use tuna. You can use cherry tomatoes. You can use mushrooms. If you don't want to use courgette, you can use carrot ribbons. I don't know, like whatever you want, but there's no set structure or set formula to this. Just go with what you have. Now, it's been a particularly mental and long day for me, so I am gonna reach for healthy convenience tonight, but just because it's convenient does not mean it's not good for you. I swear by these Muti pasta sauces. I always have a stash of them in my cupboard. They contain exactly the same ingredients that you would use to make them at home. I've literally got tomato pulp, tomato puree, tomato paste, olive oil, onion, basil, carrot, and salt. That is literally it. So for me to be able to just chuck this in, I can make this dinner in literally 10 to 12 minutes. Yeah, just normal white pasta. Don't worry, not everything has to be the health version of it. And because I'm gonna be cooking this for both me and my husband, that means it's about 150 grams. And then I'm just gonna chop a handful of these black olives just in prep. Another pan recommendation, this is my made-in saucier. It is the 1.8 litre one. I use this all the time. If you are an avid pasta maker, then you need this pan. Full stainless steel, built to last a lifetime, and I absolutely love it. Couldn't recommend it more. I've just added a little bit of olive oil and I'm gonna sprinkle in the chili flakes. Go in with that lazy garlic puree. Capers, and then the olives, and the red pepper. Also just gonna add a little squeeze of tomato puree. Pasta water to the pan, just to deglaze it a little bit. Start to form that nice sauce. And pasta in. Now I'm just gonna add the sardines, just breaking them up into the sauce. Promise, if you like tuna pasta, you will like sardine pasta. And you'll see that the sardines just kind of melt away into it. And then, the best, so easy. Tip the jar of sauce in. Then I also like to add a little bit of water, give it a shake and tip that in. Now because capers, olives, and the kind of sardines are naturally salty, you don't need loads of extra seasoning in this. So I'm just gonna let that kind of blip away now whilst I wait for my pasta to be done. Now I've got a little bit of ropey looking basil that I'm just gonna tear up and add in. Then I'm just going to add my spaghetti to the pan, give that a nice little mix through, add that julienne courgette, and then just toss it all together really. Let's have dinner. Literally took 12 minutes. So easy, and so good. My husband does the thing where he's able to like twirl it around really aesthetically, but I just can't do that. I managed to put a massive blob of tomato sauce, but also do this with any other pasta shape. I find that other pasta shapes are better for meal prep. Spaghetti, I don't know, I just don't really feel like it's very meal prep friendly. Honestly, if you are a sardine skeptic or you just want to get more oily fish into your diet, please try this recipe. I think putting things in pasta forms just make everything taste better, especially when you cover it with loads of Parmesan cheese. That is my final meal for today. Sardine bolognese, literally using a tin of sardines. I think that was 60p in the supermarket, so such great value to feed people, but get something that's really, really nutrient dense. Bolt out with that extra little bit of courgette ribbons. I've also got those capers, olives, again, another source of antioxidants. It's so good. I love this one. Now I need to get my PJs on, have a little sweet treat, and then I think I'm ready for bed. I hope you guys enjoyed my first ever long form what I eat in a day. If you want more of these, let me know. Be sure to subscribe. If you've got any requests, any recipe ideas, pop them down below in the comments, and I'll see you guys soon.